to today's webinar on pregnancy, posture, and baby positioning. So we're going to go into a lot of information today. The more you know, the more you can prepare. So whether you are planning on conceiving soon, or you currently are pregnant, or you're close to birth pregnant, or you're postpartum and you want to learn more for your next pregnancy, all are welcome. And there's going to be a lot of great info. I'm going to open up my chat box here. If anybody has any questions or comments during this webinar, please feel free to type them in, and I'd love to chat with you while we go. So I'm going to give a few minutes I'm going to talk about myself for a few minutes to let people log on and get started. First little disclaimer, I sound a little stuffy. I'm like sniffles for like a week, just like we're getting over this like lingering head cold. I'm fine, but don't mind me. And I'm like, my husband was like, you look like Rudolph. Just blowing my nose a lot. So I tried to put makeup on and it didn't hide it. So don't mind me, just a little raw over here today. Kind of goes with having a baby and a 4-year-old and just not sleeping a lot the last couple weeks. So I'm doing well, supporting my body in all the ways, and I'm really happy to be here. So let me just tell a little bit more about me. So I'm Dr. Sarah Letts. Part of Pure Light Family Chiropractic with my husband, Dr. David Letts, and our amazing other chiropractor, Dr. Liz Hansen. And we love caring for our community in Central Oregon. We see a lot of families, and we specialize in prenatal and pediatrics. So we see a lot of mamas and a lot of babies and a lot of kids and families, and it's so, so much fun. I have a special place in my heart for caring for mothers. I became a mother myself in 2018. And now I just had another little babe 4 months ago. And so I've learned a lot in my own personal journey with pregnancy and birth and postpartum, but also caring for hundreds of women over the last 6 years in their journeys, which is the greatest joy and the greatest honor, truly, for all of us at the office. And we love seeing your families grow and thrive. And today, we're going to go into a lot of anatomy at first, which might feel a little bit not your thing, but the more you know, again, the more you can prepare. It sometimes can be surprising how much you realize you don't know about your body. When you get pregnant, you realize like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of this ligament or that muscle or whatever. And you haven't had to think about it, but the more you know, the more you can tune in with your body, the more you can prepare as your body changes and grows over this miraculous 9 months. And the more you can prepare your body for your baby so that your baby can be in the best position possible for them, which will really make a difference in your labor and birth experience, which comes up quick. All of a sudden, 9 months goes by. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into some structure, anatomy today, just to give you a really good overview of what we're talking about when we're talking about posture and the different parts of the body and how they're supposed to move and be aligned. So when you think about your hips, so if my hands were your hips, they should be nice and balanced and level. Oftentimes we get lopsided to one side's higher than the other, one side gets locked up, it doesn't move as well. And why does this happen? It happens because of day-to-day movement patterns, the way that we hold the baby on the hip, the way that we get in and out of the car, things that we've been doing sitting wise with our posture and movement and exercise for our whole lives. We just have patterns that get locked in to our body. Oh, hold on. My 4-year-old. Yes, Emily.
Daddy put Ziggy down and scream like in here it's like having the whole time in there.
Okay, they'll be okay. He'll take another nap in a second. Okay, but I'm on my webinar, okay? I love you.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to everybody. All right, go ahead and close the door. Love you, honey. Dr. David's putting baby down for a nap. And Emily's doing Play-Doh and she wanted to check in. So that was sweet. So where was I? So you want your hips and your pelvis to be aligned and balanced, and you want them to be moving properly. This is really the foundation of your body, especially when it comes to pregnancy. And it really plays a role into everything you feel in your like lower body too, legs and feet. So you want that all to be balanced and aligned. So you have your hips, your pelvis, and then you have, if you were to come here, you have your sacrum. So your sacrum is a triangle-shaped bone at the base of your spine, and it connects to the pelvis by these two big joints called SI joints. Stands for sacroiliac joints. You don't need to know that, but you want them to move nice and smoothly. And unfortunately, we get locked up typically on one side, and the sacrum will rotate and become what we call posterior on one side, anterior on the other side. And this puts a lot of stress on your body. We're going to go into how that affects pregnancy. And then, so you have the sacrum, the SI joints, the pelvis, the hips, and then of course you have your core up above in the front, and you have your pelvic floor. So your pelvic floor like sits inside all of this. And there's a lot more awareness about the pelvic floor these days, which I'm so happy to hear, that there's a lot of exercise programs and PTs and different programs you can do to help bring awareness and balance to your pelvic floor. That's a huge thing for our generation. Previous mom generations didn't have that, and they had lifelong issues. So I literally have other webinars on the pelvic floor, so I'm not going to go into too much of that, but just think of like the pelvis is like a bowl, the pelvic floor is all the muscles and ligaments sitting underneath. And then you have the uterus. So this is where we really want to talk today, is that's where baby's growing. So the uterus is like a big balloon that is little, and then when you get pregnant, it expands and grows like a hot air balloon. And it has these two ligaments that hold it up. So if you have the balloon, there are these two ligaments that hold it up and stretch and get bigger or longer as baby grows. These are called the round ligaments. And especially in a first-time pregnancy, you'll feel these ligaments a lot in the front, sometimes on the belly button or down lower towards like the groin area. And these ligaments literally suspend the uterus. So it's suspending this big balloon. And that's really amazing, right? And all of our other organs will shift up and out of place. Our ribs expand, pelvic floor, everything is changing. And it's incredible. And you feel a lot of this happening. Two other important structures I want to mention are there's a muscle called the psoas muscle. This runs from your lumbar spine all the way down around your, kind of like around your hips into the front. And you'll feel it. You know, if you know what the psoas is, you know what the psoas is. You can feel it when you feel it. But anyway, it wraps around the uterus, which is important. It comes from the lumbar spine and wraps back around the uterus down into the front by the hips. And then you have the piriformis, which is a like little skinny muscle that runs across the glutes. And what's important there is that the sciatic nerve runs under it. So just keep that in mind. So the importance of me explaining all of these structures isn't for an anatomy lesson as much as for you to understand that everything is all connected and everything is affected when you are pregnant and your baby is growing and your belly is expanding and your body is compensating in so many ways. And your body is designed to compensate, but it's important to properly support your body so that your body's not compensating and potentially getting injured, or baby's not allowed enough room to move because of torsion. Because like I talked about, when your hips, first kind of foundational thing, if things are lopsided and out of balance and not moving properly, that's going to create torsion on those muscles and ligaments, the soft tissue supporting structures that, again, like I said, are all so close to the uterus. They wrap around the back of the uterus, they're in the front of the uterus. And if there's torsion in any of those muscles, tightness on more than one side than the other, then it's going to create torsion in the uterus. It can literally make the one side of the uterus smaller, more tight, and make constriction. So in utero constraint is a term for when baby is just tight in the womb and they can't move a whole lot. And every time we do work with mamas, our goal is to get things balanced, moving properly, aligned, and also to create more room for baby. And it's quite amazing. I'll feel the belly and where baby is, and then after an adjustment, I'll feel it again, and there's so much more room. Baby's like kicking around and so happy. Oftentimes, we don't ever say we turn babies if they're breached, but if they get adjusted, oftentimes they'll have the room to turn themselves, and we don't have to go through any of the other intense extroversion, forcing them to move, medical procedures, and so forth. So what do I want to say here? So posture. So as you are as baby's growing, as you're going through your pregnancy, it's really, at first you're like, you feel normal, first trimester for the most part in your structure. And then as baby starts to grow, your body will start to shift and change how it moves. You may find that you're arching your back more and sticking out your belly. I see that a lot in the third trimester. You may find that your hips are sore all of a sudden. You may have sciatic pain shooting down the back of your leg. You may have low back spasms. Your neck might be hurting. It literally can compensate all the way up the spine. So what can you do proactively, preconceptively during your pregnancy to help your body maintain the best posture? Of course, the first thing I'm going to say is get adjusted by a prenatal Webster certified chiropractor. All of us at Pure Light are certified in Webster. We obviously are all passionate about taking care of pregnant moms, and we're very trained in it. And so getting adjusted not only helps correct your posture, but it changes your neurology. It gets you out of a stress state. When you're stressed, you tend to go like this. And when we can get you out of that protection mode, stress mode, you can open up and be more in a state of higher brain functioning and get your brain more online, your nervous system balanced. And that alone neurologically will improve your posture. And also, a lot of times you can't necessarily fix your posture yourself. If there are joints in your spine, or your pelvis that are literally not moving, if they are completely locked up, there's nothing you can do to get them to move. We need to do gentle adjustments to help unwind that stress, unwind that tension, release whatever caused that to lock up, and allow you to be open and up and free, heart open, head above the water feeling. So, getting adjusted is the biggest thing. Then you can also avoid excessive sitting. So when you sit a lot, your hip flexor, which is that psoas muscle I talked about that wraps around the uterus, is going to get really tight. And often it'll get really tight on one side. And again, that constricts baby in the uterus. So avoid excessive sitting. If you have to sit a lot for work, maybe you can get one of those desks that has the sit to stand option that can kind of like push up or down, or just take a lot of breaks. Set a timer if you're on your computer and take some breaks, do some stretches, squats, walking around, and just really get things moving, so that you don't get excessive tension in those muscles. You want to keep your stress levels low. Beyond getting adjusted, try not to feel like you have to do it all. So many mamas take on the world, and yes, we are super moms, but if you overload your stress, it's going to impact your neurology, which impacts your function, which impacts your posture, and which impacts your pregnancy. So you want to keep your stress levels low. Breathing techniques are awesome. We are so busy that we breathe to live, but we forget to breathe just to breathe. And breathing exercises are really great. Diaphragmatic breathing is is a type of exercise I like that really helps expand the pelvic floor and the diaphragm, and can really help with opening up the ribs and really help with posture and also strengthening and preparing for birth. So, diaphragmatic breathing is something I love to recommend. If you feel ligament tightness, so the ligaments I mentioned, the round ligaments, are the ones in the front that hold up the uterus. And if you feel those are painful or tight on one side, best thing, of course, again, is come in and get adjusted. We'll do the Webster technique, which releases tension on those ligaments. But you can also help just gently massage them out, very, very gentle, like as if you were like massaging your baby's cheek. You just want to gently massage any like tense spots on those ligaments. At home is something you can do. And you want to also check out Spinning Babies is a great spinningbabies.com is a great website that was founded by a chiropractor many years ago and has now become this really great resource for a lot of different practitioners and moms everywhere, where there's different exercises to help your body prepare for birth in a wellness basis, just in terms of like if your baby's not breached, but they're really well known for moms who have breached babies and to help them get to the best position possible. So there's different exercises, videos, and all sorts of things you can do on there proactively through your pregnancy. All of these will help maintain your posture. And then any other type of exercise that really helps strengthen that upper back, to lower back, glutes, legs. You want to really stay strong during pregnancy. And I can say there are definitely times in both of my pregnancies where exercise felt almost impossible, like with first trimester nausea or just exhaustion. But try to give yourself just a few minutes a day, even or 10 minutes a day, and then see if you can go further with just really tuning in and focusing on stretching, strengthening, making sure you're balanced and aligned. And when you come in to our office for your adjustments, if you ever need any tips or tricks or ideas on how to improve things in between visits, we're always happy to have those chats with you in the office for you individually and what you need. Okay, and then walking is another great thing. When you go for walks, really like engaging that pelvic floor and the core and like not arching your back too much and just always being mindful of your posture. When you're moving, especially in the third trimester, how you pick up your other kids, how you get in and out of the car, all of those things are going to impact all of those structures in your posture that we talked about earlier. So the more mindful you can be, the better. But I also know how it is when you're rushing around and you have to grab the 2-year-old and this and that, and things get out of whack. And honestly, that's what we're here for. And I know that obviously it's my passion is chiropractic in moms and adjusting pregnant moms. But I literally, like, if I wasn't a chiropractor, I cannot imagine going through my pregnancies without getting adjusted. And I'm not just saying that, like, I literally can't imagine. And I've had moms come in, say their second, third beyond pregnancy, and they're like, previous pregnancies didn't get adjusted. And they're like, I don't know how I did it. It's a game changer. So, yes, I'm going to shout it from the mountaintops today that if you are pregnant, you need to be getting adjusted. And then everything else falls into place and all the other pieces come together. So, really, that's the motto of this webinar is prenatal chiropractic care is the bomb and you should do it. And we love to be there for you and doing it. And then all the other things, breathing, stretching, exercises, all of that stuff is super important. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, whether it's the anatomy, the structure, the exercises, things you can do at home, anything about prenatal chiropractic care, what does an adjustment look like, any of that stuff, feel free to reach out to us. You can send us an email. My email is sarahlutz@purelightfamily.com. You can also email our front desk at frontdesk@purelightfamily.com, get set up for a consultation and see if we're a good fit for you. And you can also just message us on social media and we'll get back to you. All right. Well, I feel like I could just say more and more, but I don't want to overload you. So if you have any questions, reach out. Thank you so much for joining. I really, really love this topic. I love mamas. I'm here for you. And I look forward to meeting you at some point. All right. Have a great rest of your day.